Thank you.
No problem.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Jessica. That was terrific. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Great.
Hopefully
All
we can
right.
do more
Yeah.
stuff together.
Yes, that'd be great.
All right, we found a professor who's got a crazy idea. He thinks that maybe that politicians might be motivated by money. I mean, every mainstream media reporter is saying, that's the craziest thing we've ever heard. Money? Politicians? No, they don't care about that at all. All right, so we decided to bring on this crazy professor to talk about his wild theory that millions of dollars might affect human beings. Peter Mathews is a professor of political science and international relations. He's also the author of Dollar Democracy on Steroids with Liberty and Justice for Some, How to Reclaim the Middle Class Dream, for all I know, because I've got the book. And now he's also running for Congress. So Peter, welcome.
Thank you so much, Cenk. Always good to be with you.
No problem. So Peter, you've done so many things, and you're a professor, you wrote these books. I'm going to come back to the books, but why'd you decide to run for Congress?
Well, because actions speak louder than words, and words are very important, and writing is very important, but we got to take action, Cenk. This country is in a crisis situation, so is the world, as you know, and it's because of money in politics. That overlies everything. We can't get universal single-payer health care. We can't get tuition-free college. We can't fix the climate, which is falling apart and destroying, the world's being destroyed with that because of these fossil fuel companies, and it's all because of money in politics. So in every single area, gun control, all of that, it's money in politics that's been buying off the politicians. And I'm running without corporate money because of that reason, with lots of grassroots support.
Who are you running against? What's the district?
Right now, it's called the 42nd district. It includes Long Beach, where I live, is about a little less than half the district. The other half has a very interesting area up north of the district, which is up in Downey, Bellflower, and Lakewood, but also further north is Huntington Park. It's got cities like Bell and Bell Gardens. So it's a very diverse district, but mostly it's very moderate to low income. And there are people that are suffering, Cenk, that need to have more justice in their lives. And they work so hard and haven't gotten it. So that's kind of what we're running in right now. We have a couple of other people running, of course. We have a candidate or two that are already elected politicians who think they can come in and walk in with big money and take the seat. But we have so many volunteers ready to go. And we've already ready to launch our campaign. We're already launched it, actually. We got everything going just about a couple of weeks ago.
What's your website?
It's petermatthewsforcongress.org, and it's spelled out completely. Matthews is spelled with one T, Mathews, and four is FOR.
Okay.
petermatthewsforcongress.org.
All right, we'll put that link down below too, so people can check that out. So
Thank you.
No problem. Peter, as you're covering political science as a professor, why did money in politics stick out to you as the issue to focus on?
Because it's something there are actually a political science study like the Gillens and Page study, which came out just a couple of years ago. They did multivariate analysis, complicated stuff, it's political science. And they found that major issues that people want, such as universal health care, such as tuition-free college, 81% of Americans support tuition-free college, 70% support universal health care, 90-something% support stricter gun control, and yet we cannot get that done. So when you research it and find out why, you go to opensecrets.org and other websites that show where the money is coming from, you find there are correlational votes. There's a correlation between how these people in Congress vote, at least 70-80% of the time, for their donors and not for the voters that they promise so many beautiful things to and never deliver. That's it's pretty much right there in front of us. As a political scientist, you have to keep your eyes open, right there.
Yeah, and there was a study that came out, I believe, between Princeton and Northwestern professors a couple of years back, and they showed—
That's the Gillens and Page study. That's the study
that's the one.
mentioned.
Yeah, and that part of that study showed that the bottom 90%, which is 90% of us, had absolutely zero effect on elections, none, on policies, I should say. So even if 90% of the country wants it, it is not going to pass if the rich don't say yes. And so, but Peter, some people might recognize you because you're on cable news a decent amount, including on CNN. And so, do you ever ask the folks in the rest of the press, or do you have, I don't know, maybe you've studied, I don't know, why they never talk about the issue that is obvious? If you study political science, obviously the #1 issue in politics, which is the donor money.
I've certainly pointed it out several times, and I've even given examples, even on CNN, also Sky News Australia, which is a Rupert Murdoch-owned station. They keep calling me back because I just tell the truth, and I guess I got an audience, Cenk. But I let them know that the audience, whether it's progressive or conservative, whatever, that we cannot fight for these issues successfully unless we get the big money out of politics. It's like, who's your daddy? You heard that before. Everyone likes to smile when they hear it, but it's true. Who's your daddy? Who's paying you? And what are you going to be giving for that? And they see it when I give examples, but on the mainstream media, I bring up the issue of why we don't have, for example, tuition-free college. I talked on KTLA, for example, on why Trump didn't mention not the free trade issue. He didn't mention a bit about free trade being the real reason that we have undocumented people fleeing across the border to find jobs over here, because the United States was involved with the corporations going there and paying next to nothing to the workers in Mexico to make those cars for GM, and then also to dump our crops. NAFTA, the free trade agreement, was one in which Bill Clinton pushed it through, a Democrat, and dumped our crop. The corporate agriculture can dump their corn over there in Mexico, drive the family farmer out of business, and those folks go desperately looking for work in the city, maybe in a car factory that's owned by Americans. And then they come here because that doesn't pay much. $4 an hour, not even that is what the auto workers get there. So I mentioned on KTLA, I said, this is why we really have illegal or undocumented workers here, illegal immigration. It's not because people love the weather here in LA. They got great weather in Mexico. It's not because they love the food here, which we got great food here, but they have great food in Mexico. Great beaches there. I said this on KTLA, Cenk. It's on my website, actually.
All right, KTLA's of course.
They didn't call me back. They called me back only twice after that, I think. That was it.
By the way, that's not that bad a record, though. Every time I see you on TV, I'm always surprised they call you back. So keep on going, brother. So KTLA is a large local television station here in LA, and obviously 42nd districts in California. It turns out that as you were doing research, you ran into a group that I founded. What was that about money in politics?
It was a group called Wolfpack. Great name, by the way, and it symbolizes what you're doing. And it has to do with going to the grassroots and getting people organized in each state to get the state legislators to call an Article 5 convention, which has never been used before, but it can certainly be used in the future, where people would come together in a convention and then decide what to write to get money out of politics completely. And they will decide that, and there'll also be a check on it, because 38 states would have to ratify that. So the fear that this could be a runaway convention is unfounded. And so I was very excited when I saw Wolfpack is going very strong on this and saying, let's go to the people first. At the very least, the people getting organized, demanding that the legislatures will actually call the convention, might light a fire under Congress. And then Congress might go ahead and propose it, might. But most corporate Congress members don't want to get money out of politics. They're benefiting from it. But I'm glad Wolfpack is pushing it.
Thank you, wolf-pack.com. And so the reason Wolfpack pushes a convention idea is because the only other way to amend the Constitution is to go through Congress. If you're in the audience now, do any of you, Republican or Democrat, think that 2/3 of Congress is going to call for an amendment to get money out of politics when 90% of Congress got there through money in politics? They're not going to give away their power. You got to go around them. But Peter, you were saying before we got on air that Wolfpack is the only group trying to get the solution through a convention, which is the only realistic path, right? So I don't know. Like I'm encouraged that I started the one group that's actually has a plan that could work. I'm discouraged that it's the only group. And look, in the Democratic Party, Democratic leadership has come out against the convention, saying, "Do not do that. That could lead to real change," and they hate the idea of real change. And they've hoodwinked a lot of people. But you study this. The threat of a convention has gotten a lot of amendments passed, hasn't it?
Absolutely. In fact, have you heard when the people lead, the leaders will follow? That was from Gandhi. When the people lead, the leaders will follow, and that's what you're doing. And there have been other times when the 17th Amendment to bring about the direct election of US senators, a fire was lit under the people, by the people, to force the Congress to propose that amendment. They weren't going to do it until the people like you guys, Wolfpack doing it now, did that back then with the 17th Amendment and got it adopted by the members of Congress because the people got organized. So I love Gandhi's phrase. It's very true in all walks of life.
We must do everything within our power to protect the right to vote, but we're still missing your name. So please, add your name before the deadline to stand up for the sacred right to vote.
Whether you're building dynamic network models or forecasting real-world behavior, Neo4j's new Graph Algorithms book will walk you through
to end private money in elections and make it only publicly financed. Other countries in Europe have equal and free airtime on TV for candidates. They have public financing elections. We have state of Maine, which at the state level has public financing of elections, and it works. It allows the Maine legislators to be more proactive on giving the people what they need and want. And we know in Europe, there's far more progressive policies like universal health care, child care, you have parental leave, you have paid vacation, you have workers' rights, workers' management councils, all those progressive issues, because most of the parties in Europe and many countries like Germany, even the conservative parties don't dare go against the consensus of universal health care, against tuition-free university and college in Germany, against parental leave. They don't dare go against it. The consensus has been achieved because there was no major money in politics. That's what we got to achieve here.
All right, we're almost out of time. By the way, another advantage, and the right wing should join us, and Wolfpack is totally nonpartisan. We would love right wingers. I might disagree with right wingers on every other issue, but we agree on this. We both hate corruption. And as an extra incentive to right wingers, if we get the 28th Amendment to get money out of politics, I will retire. Okay? So, and go to one of the lovely locations in Peter's screensaver behind him. Okay, that's my plan. Okay, and right wingers make that happen. All right, the book is called Dollar Democracy on Steroids with Liberty and Justice for Some, and Peter Mathews for Congress.com is the website. Peter, thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it.